Guys, and welcome back to Wellness for the Hot Mess podcast. It's Kristin Lexi, your wellness BFFs.
What up? What up, you guys? We're here today specifically just to strike some inspiration and drop you into an authentic stream of thought about what's going on in your life right now that perhaps you need to throw out the window.
Yes. How are you feeling? Speaking of throwing out the window, how's your week going? What are you looking to toss out? Give me a little energy update.
Well, I think since my words for this year were trust and simplify, and those words are just anchors. So I've just been coming back to those words, like simplify. Sometimes I'll catch myself scheduling way too much. And then my body will be like, no, you need to sleep in. Or yesterday I actually took a nap. I took a nap listening to, this is multitasking, listening to a replay of this mastermind call that I'm in. And I was just like, I'm just going to lay here and consciously connect. And I just totally crashed out. But yesterday I took a nap that felt really good. Just little things like cooking at home rather than still going out to get a healthy meal or ordering a healthy meal in. I find that like the oils and even just the emotional connection to takeout food sometimes has been like, I get so angry when something is wrong. And then I'm like, I can't be angry at these people for longer than literally 5 seconds. I get angry and then I'm like, you could have cooked this at home, bitch. But little things like that where I'm like really, really hungry and I'm looking forward to something to eat. And then I end up saving 15 minutes by ordering takeout and then it shows up to my door wrong and I'm fucking frustrated. That's a sign. Simplify. Throw the takeout menus out the window. You can make some rice in 20 minutes. You can put some salmon in the oven in 20 minutes and fucking saute some broccoli and so little things like that have been making me feel better this week. And also just self-care.
Good. I can't wait until we're like 20 years down the line re-listening to these episodes because I don't say it enough, but I want to be like Lexi when I get older because I fell asleep taking a nap yesterday to a TikTok. It was a whole like series on TikTok. You know, when you get down a hole and then you go to the comments for part 2 because you just want to see what's next. It was a whole TikTok series on a murder that's happening right now. So a little bit different than falling asleep to a little evolution thing. But
I mean, it was awesome. But literally the day before I was I'm like in a rabbit hole on TikTok about this woman who I don't know anybody who knows this woman. She just showed up on my page and she's telling the story about how she's getting ready, right? And she's telling the story about her doula, who was her best friend, who helped deliver her child, ended up having an affair like that week, the same week that she gave birth to their baby with her husband. And she's just like, which I love because like, this isn't like reality TV. This is like a fucking real life. And so she's just talking about it, but so nonchalantly, and you get like 3 minutes. So clearly I went to part 2 and then clearly I went to part 3.
Yeah.
And then she kept going because she's like, and get this, I didn't even tell her husband, and her husband was also our friend and he was my dentist or whatever. And then, so I went to go see if she eventually told the husband, which she didn't, but then she came back and did like a part 4 because the wife finally told the husband like 2 years later. And then the husband reached out and was like, hey, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. But it was like 2 years after because they were getting a divorce.
Jeez.
Anyways, but not because of that. They like happened to be getting a divorce, and she was probably like, well, hey, let me just tell you what happened. Is that crazy?
Ooh. So many good things about social media, so many things where you're like, maybe keep that story to yourself.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing, and I would love to hear what our listeners think, because obviously we love drama. Like, obviously we love reality TV, and maybe you don't. There are some days, like, it's so funny, depending on my makeup and depending on like the flow and my focus and what's really relevant in my life, some days I can sit down and watch trash TV, no problem. And some days I'm just like, I can't watch this. Like, I'm like getting sick a little bit. It just depends. And it's just the human experience that's up and down. And sometimes we're really like present in our body and conscious, and sometimes we're not. And I think it's the non-conscious times that I can sit and just kind of watch whatever. Like last night I tried to watch the season premiere of Vanderpump Rules. I couldn't watch past like 10 minutes, and I'll be able to watch it. Like, maybe I'll watch it this weekend, but I've been such in a flow of work, and I just was like, I'm gonna go to bed and read. Totally. So that brings us, I guess, to our new segment.
Yeah.
We are going to be doing a segment called What Are You Watching? What Are You Reading? And why I think this is going to be so cool is we try to judge ourselves, and because of social media, we try to be like, oh, she's reading that, like she's so much better than me, or more intelligent and more intellectual. But it's like, let's be real, just like you're drinking your margarita and having your green juice, you're probably watching something trashy on TV. If not trashy, something murder oriented. Like, hello, which is better? You tell me. I pick the trash reality, not the murder.
Totally.
And maybe you're reading fucking Colleen Hoover. I don't know who the fuck that girl is, but she's popular. I can't name one book she read, but all of a sudden I just see her all over Instagram. But also, maybe you're not into that. Right. And you don't have to be into it because your favorite influencer keeps posting about it, and your favorite influencer is hot as shit. And you're like, I want to be hot. I want to like read sexy books. Like,
I think this will be good for me. This segment will be really good for me because I need to, and I think this is okay to admit, I don't watch like educational shit. It's not like I'm sitting around watching like PBS all the time, but I don't watch enough TV that lets me be mindless and lets me turn my brain off. I'm watching, like, if anything, I come home and I turn on a podcast or a YouTube that want to be watching. I'll turn on like things like that. I listen to a lot of jazz music in my house, but I think I do need to start incorporating a little more of the like trashy TV and the reality TV, some of the things that can let my brain turn off, because I think I'm overstimulated sometimes, and I'm excited to start watching a little bit more TV. And I think like a couple of years ago, we'd be like, oh my God, that's so bad. But I would rather sit down and watch a series than scroll through TikTok. And I need to get better on that for sure.
Totally. Yeah. And I think with a series, this is my thing with TV and how people have always said TV, those people, they're like, I don't watch TV. We don't have a TV, blah, 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 blah. TV, it's the same thing as reading a fucking book or a series. Like, we love getting into just good series, and people can relate. I mean, like White Lotus, and I can't think off the top of my head, but there's so much good production. And like, I've always, since I was in production in my early 20s, I've always watched TV with like a production mind, even in reality TV. I think it's brilliant. I think the people behind the scenes are masterminds. Like White Lotus, the music production was fucking incredible. I mean, the acting was incredible, but the music is incredible. The music on The Bachelor is incredible. It can go from taking a simple scene to this scene that is making this one girl the villain who everybody hates in the United States now, because of the music. Like, it's actually so incredible. And even like Family Guy, my husband really likes Family Guy, and I've never been a Family Guy fan. I just can't the colors of cartoons. Like, I hate primary colors. Like, colors And the way that they land in my body, I can't do cartoons. I just can't. That's why I'm kind of worried. Like when kids come, I'm gonna be like, oh God, Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But like even Family Guy is brilliant and South Park is brilliant and The Simpsons, right? It's all brilliant as long as you're not watching it all day long and canceling meetings and plans.
Totally.
So I guess it's the same with reading, because I know people that would probably rather be in their bed reading all day long instead of working or socializing or taking care of themselves. That doesn't mean that they're better than the person who's doing the same fucking thing. It's just watching TV.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. That's awesome. Let's get into it then. So I'll go first, I guess, and we can kind of riff. But so what are you watching? What are you reading? We talked about White Lotus a little. I just finished White Lotus, so I won't get too into that because a ton of podcasts have talked about that, but so good. Loved White Lotus. So good. I also started watching because I wanted to kind of like tap into a little piece of my inner child. I was obsessed with like Full House, and I was obsessed with Boy Meets World and that 70s shows. Those were like my three main when I was growing up. Yes. So I saw on Netflix that they just did that 90s show. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Really cute. So it's like Full House had Fuller House, like Boy Meets World, I'm sure had a spinoff eventually. So it's the spinoff of that 70s show. It's the same parents, it's the same grandparents, it's all the same main characters, but they have kids now. So it's cute. It's a nice little like corny cute if you want to turn your brain off and kind of like they're in the 90s. So it's fun to look back at like the style then and like what we were doing then. So it's really cute. That was a cute one. I was just like browsing through Netflix and I wanted to turn on something that wasn't educational or wasn't like a documentary. And I was like, fuck it, I'll put this on. So cute. Lately, I've been addicted. I almost made like a whole Instagram story on this, but I decided against it. I got onto the National Geographic channel, just was so bored one day. And I was like, I need something in the background. There's this show on there called Life Below Zero. And it follows like families that live in Alaska through the winter time. And these people are alone, hundreds of miles away from anyone else. It's like they're building their own cabin. They're collecting like firewood. And it's like,
I think my husband watches it.
It's a vibe. And at first I was like, I'm not quite sure if I could get into this. And then I found myself like stopping what I was doing and being like, I can't believe it's 2023 and people are living in the middle of Alaska in a cabin with no internet, no phones. They communicate on walkie-talkies. Really good. It was really good to kind of see a different perspective of life because I kept out loud asking like, okay, but what if they need to call someone for help? Like they have to walkie-talkie. They have to walkie someone. Well, I was like, what if they need to know what's going on the news? They just like don't really know.
They're like, they don't need to know. Neither do you.
No. And it was like a really good perspective. Really great show. And then I finished off this week. I always love to put on a movie on like a Sunday night. Yeah. And I love like a good throwback movie. And I watched Eat, Pray, Love. And if you haven't watched Eat, Pray, Love, oh my God. Have you watched it?
So good.
It's so good.
And I feel the like Sunday nostalgic movie because I'll watch anything regular TV with the commercials, preferably with Jennifer Lopez. And my husband will be like, babe, this is commercials. And I'm like, I know. It's made in Manhattan.
Yeah.
No, Eat, Pray, Love is so good.
So good. It made me want to travel real bad. If you haven't watched it, I know it's like a corny one. So good. You start to kind of like think about things going on in your life and what you want to prioritize. So that was fun. That's what I watched this week. Reading. I like to usually have a fiction and a nonfiction for the week, something that can kind of like turn my brain off and then something that can educate me a little bit. I was LOLing when you said, who the fuck's Colleen Hoover? Because I just read my first one. I read
you
Verity.
read it cuddled up with your Stanley.
No, I didn't. I actually read this one terrified for my life because I picked the wrong one to start with. So she has like a one-off called Verity. And this is like a murder, creepy, scary fucking book that I was reading on the subway going to work and looking around being like, I'm almost like scared of it. So I picked the wrong one to start with. I think I need to read her other ones that are more like lovey-dovey. This one was intense. So if you haven't read Verity, I think I read it in like 2 days. It was so good, but it was scary as hell. Basically about like an author who's kind of like writing about how she takes over finishing books for an author. So just imagine like the woman who wrote the Harry Potter novels got into a car accident and couldn't finish the rest of them. They have to bring in a ghostwriter. So it's kind of like that. Crazy what happens. Really good. I won't spoil it.
That sounds cool.
But it was really good. And then I always like to read something that's going to educate me a little bit. So right now I'm reading The Nature Cure by Andreas Michelson. Really good book. It's kind of like bringing a perspective of naturopathic medicine and then Western medicine and how we need to find a balance between the two. People are so scared of like Chinese medicine and acupuncture and naturopathy because they're like, what if I need an Advil or a Tylenol? I can't take it. The thing is, though, there is a balance. You can use Western medicine, Eastern medicine. You can find a good balance. And this book is really good because he's a doctor from Germany and he's talking about how he prefers naturopathy, but he also treats his patients using both. And that's kind of like the best route to go. So if someone has a heart attack, he's going to give them what they need in the hospital. But then when they go home, he's going to tell them like, let's switch up your diet. Let's sleep a little more. Let's stop going to places that are stressing you out. So it's a really good balance book. And it's good for someone who's kind of nervous about naturopathy and natural medicine. It's a good introduction to see that you can have both. And it's kind of like very fulfilling.
Yeah, that sounds really, really good.
Yeah.
Books wise, right now I'm reading The 5 Personality Patterns by Stephen Kessler. Really good, recommended by a mentor that I have. And so a lot of the work I do with clients is repatterning. But what is the root of these patterns that we've created, is a lot of these responses that protected us and worked, right? And then our body took the note that, okay, that worked when you did that. Do it again. Allow it to be a part of your being. So this is really cool because it allows you to become more empathetic to the people in your life. Right. And all of the work that I've done has just allowed me to fucking be so much more empathetic than I ever was with people in my life, because we've all developed these protection mechanisms that have become our personality patterns. And so, yeah, I'm just in the beginning of it, but it's really good. And I don't do fiction books. I don't, maybe I do. It takes me a long time to read a book. So this will probably I'm at the beginning. I mean, maybe a couple months. I'm not doing one book a month. I'm just not. Like, it's going to take me way longer. I try to do 10 pages a day, if that, but that turns into like 40 pages a week. And I'm okay with that. Right. So again, if you're reading this, if you're listening to this, and reading is something that you do want to explore, don't put the pressure on because of social media, or don't put the pressure on because you're seeing people post that they're reading one book a month, which is incredible. Yeah. I just know that that's just not me. But I will rewatch Laguna Beach from the first episode all the way through graduation. In a month. Good.
So good. Is that what you've been watching?
So I've spoke about this before. I like a lot going on. So if I'm on my computer and I'm not in my office, I'm in the living room. We get the most natural light in the living room. Open the windows. I always like to have something on TV, even if I'm playing music. And my husband gets it now, but when we first moved in together, he's just like, why is the
a lot
TV
going on?
So it goes back to personality patterns. Like, my parents let us have the TV on, doing homework, even eating, right? It may not have been the best, in whoever's definition, but it's like soothing to me. And sometimes I really get in my zone. Like last night, I turned the TV off because I told you I was really in my zone. I was like, nah, I got to rewatch this video. So it's not necessarily like I'm enamored with it. But what I love about Laguna Beach, and I thought about this while you were speaking, because you were like, what did you say? Number one, I got the thought of your mom messaging you on Instagram saying, are you drunk? And that fucking killed me. But I got this thought when you were speaking about how, like, just like with podcasts, it could be a podcast not relative to anything in my life, but I always find pieces that are relative because, and I encourage you guys listening, this may sound funny, but if you are doing something mindless, see what lands for you that isn't mindless, that is mindful. You can turn the mindless into mindful, right? Mindful can also be fucking mindless if you're just walking and saying affirmations and it's not landing in the body and you don't truly believe it, then you're kind of wasting your time. So, like, for example, with Laguna Beach, there's this one scene specifically that I'm remembering where this like drama with Jason or whatever, fucking Jason. And so, not to get like so deep, but it takes me back into why I do the work that I do and why it's so important for young women to have mentors around and just have good friends that are like, hey, I don't think that's how you should be treated or whatever. Because what I thought about from watching this is that like a lot of them, and I'm sure see therapists, but they're going to have a lot of like worth issues. They're going to have a lot of personality patterns that they're not able to break free from because of that show. And I just was like, I wonder what they're doing now. And I'm not going to lie, I did look them up and I was they seem very happy with kids and whatnot. But you know what I mean? It got me really thinking about like, what was their mental health on the show? What did the show provide for their mental health? You know? And so who knows, maybe I become a mental health practitioner for young reality TV stars or TikTok influencers. Just kidding. The other show that I'm watching, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's called The Sinner and it's on Netflix and it's produced by Jessica Biel. So I'm on the 4th season.
Wait, each is different.
Yes.
The first season opening scene.
Yes.
Crazy scary.
Yeah. So every season is different, but the detective is the same.
Yes.
And I forget his name, but he's a really popular actor and he's so good. And so we're on season 4. And I like watching shows that are really intense like this. Again, we take a long time to watch it. So it's been like a couple months and we'll like sit down maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks and watch an episode. Because they're intense episodes. Yeah. This particular season is so funny because it's not funny, but it's around worshiping the moon and like crystals and self-development. And like, you guys will have to watch it. But I get triggered sometimes by shows that are so exaggerating, like the work that I do. Because I don't fucking worship the moon, but I am aware of when the moon is full, it has an effect on the, people. And so this show's kind of taking it a little bit to the extreme. And whenever I'm watching a show like this with my husband, he's always just like, that you?
Yeah.
So we're watching that. And then last but not least, The Bachelor. We're in a new season. Zach, he's a sweet guy, but I now fully understand what the ick means because I just get the ick when I watch it and when I see him. And I've never got the ick because obviously the ick happened after I've been married and like dating for a long time. So I know what the ick like conceptually means, but I'd have never felt it towards anyone because why would I?
Yeah.
But I kind of feel it towards Zach.
Yeah, I haven't watched the season too much. I have it on sometimes. I am usually out teaching it's on Monday nights, right? So I haven't seen too much of this season, but I've seen a little stuff like on TikTok and how they're trying to make certain characters be the mean ones of the season, and it's just not working this year or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's funny. There's some really great Instagram pages for The Bachelor. It's so good. They're so funny. And again, going back to like, okay, this might seem really stupid, but the masterminds behind some of these memes, they're so fucking funny. It's like, it's comedy, it's writing, it's like entertainment. It's all so good.
You know who I love, who I think was on The Bachelor recently? She was a guest appearance. I love Victoria Fuller.
Yeah, I do too.
Love her. She was like that one that they tried to, that's when I watched religiously. They tried to make her like the bad one, kind of flip the script a little bit. She's just like normal as fuck. And yeah, she gets into drama every now and then, but she's stunning, number one.
She's
And she's not
stunning.
that bad. She's really not like that mean girl energy. There's been worse. And I'm obsessed. I love her. I love
No,
following
she's
her.
literally not a villain.
No,
Like they tried to make her one. She actually just launched a podcast. Maybe
I
we'll have
saw
her
that.
on.
I saw that
Yeah.
this morning. Let's manifest that. I saw that. All right. So, unfortunately, there's a new trend taking over the waves. It's all over Hollywood, it's everywhere, it's all over TikTok. Have you heard of what's going on with Ozempic, otherwise known as semaglutide? I think its street name is the
Mm-hmm.
Ozempic.
Not in a like formal setting, but I've heard it on Not Skinny But Not Fat. She talked about it. She's so funny. She goes on these deep dives around these things that she hears. And so
Yeah.
I just followed that. It sounds pretty crazy. And then I laughed my ass off listening to Chelsea Handler on Call Her Daddy. And she also was saying how she did it a couple times, or
Mhm.
she shot up a couple times. Shut up. She injected herself a couple times.
We're going to get a call from
To
Chelsea
the
Handler's
extreme.
PR person, and they're going to be like, stop saying that she's shooting up drugs.
I think that she said that she did it like once and it like wasn't for her. She's like, it just
Totally.
makes you not hungry. And oh, and that Remy Vader, is that her name?
From TikTok. Yeah.
She's incredible, gorgeous plus size model and influencer and just social media mastermind. She's incredible.
Mm.
She shared a story on Not Skinny But Not Fat that her doctor prescribed it for health reasons,
Mm-hmm.
and that it was like helping her, whatever, don't quote me, with whatever she was working through, and she lost weight, but then she gained it all fucking back worse, she said.
So that's kind of like the thing right now. So Ozempic, if you're not familiar, it's meant for medical purposes. You're prescribed from a doctor. You can't just get it on the street, which I don't really know right now. I'm sure it's available now since it's become so popular, but it's meant for people with diabetes. And then if you are severely overweight. So if I went into a doctor and I was like, I want Ozempic, they're not going to prescribe it to me because I do not have diabetes and I'm not overweight for my age, my height, all of those details. But somehow, some way, it's getting around LA and it's getting around New York. And suddenly, all of these celebrities are coming out saying that they've been on this. One person who's come out was Mindy Kaling, and she obviously looks incredible, but
oh yeah,
turns out she's been on Ozempic for some time. And neither of us are doctors. Anytime we talk about anything medical, we just want to kind of lead with that. But the thing
not
with
that
Ozempic,
you thought we were doctors,
right.
but no.
But the thing with something like Ozempic is this is where wellness is getting so skewed right now. And as the industry grows, it's going to continue to get so skewed is things like TikTok and Instagram and little serotonin hits that we look for every day. It's because we want the shortcut. We want like the fast, quick hack to make life easier, to make it feel more fulfilling. Yeah. And that's kind of what Ozempic is. It's a really fast way to weight loss. And I've heard like the Kardashians are on it and they've been on it for a really long time. So now it's just like, what the fuck? All these people that we've looked at and we've been like, their bodies are amazing. Like we've worked so hard to get great bodies and to be healthy. Flip the script. Turns out all these bitches have been taking Ozempic. And it's like,
totally.
I also heard that now there's a shortage on it for people who really need it. And it's just like, it's so almost embarrassing to kind of like think that people are going through these lengths to lose weight when it's just like, we're just so into these hacks. And I'm now wondering what's going to happen 10 years from now when someone's been on Ozempic that didn't need it for 10 years.
Yeah, totally. And it's embarrassing, but it's like, it's sad, right? Because we've all been there with body image. I know I have. We spoke about that on a couple of podcasts, like the extremes that were extreme for us to go through, which was like wrapping our body in plastic and sweating and, just constant cardio and thinking that was how we were going to lose weight. And although like movement can be medicine, that's also, if you're doing something too much or you're going the extremes or you're working out twice a day, like what is the root of that? Mm-hmm. So, again, like I said with my clients, we always try to find what is the root of you working out twice a day? Or what is the root of you thinking you can't take a day off, right? What is the root of them thinking they can't really just get fit on their own? Is
Right.
it laziness, or is it just like, I'm curious to know. I would love to hear a podcast where someone was interviewed who is on this, and they truly share their emotional process of deciding to do this. And I'm sure the pressure in Hollywood and blah 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 is fucking huge, but like, you guys also can afford trainers and can afford a
Totally.
private chef, and it just makes, it's like, I'm when something like that goes live, it's like I'm proud of myself and all the work that I've done with what I have, and you guys are still trying to shortcut this shit. Like, you have everything you need to try to be healthy, and that just goes to show that it's not about that. It's like mind, it's fucking emotion, it's what relationships are you in that are not feeding the soul, you know? It's sad.
Mm-hmm. And I'm no saint. I will not lie to you. I sat there when I was reading about this and I was talking with a girlfriend about it. And I was like, if I could lose 15 pounds in a week, like I would try Ozempic. And then I had to check myself and I was like, what? Like what? And then I had gotten caught up in it too. And it's because it's so easy. It's so fulfilling and it's quick. And that's like what we want. We also had someone write into the podcast once when we had like the Q&A bubble up, and they had asked us to cover a topic. Word for word, it said wellness hacks to make life easier and more fulfilling. So basically looking for shortcuts. So that's like really tough for us to answer because sure, there's like quick things like a 5-minute meditation or going for a walk that's going to make you feel better in that moment. But like wellness is a journey. That's why we have a whole podcast on it that we could probably do for the rest of our lives, because this thing is always changing and evolving. And this isn't like, oh, you just hit your peak of wellness. Like there you are, you've made it. It's not, and it's not that simple. So like,
yeah.
For example, to sit here and be able to give you wellness hacks, I could give the black and white where it's like, drink more water every day, move your body every day, even if it's just a walk, and like eat nutritious foods. Like that for me is the hack right there. You've cracked the code. Your body will reflect it. Your mind will reflect all of the good things you're doing. But it's like, why do we keep wanting more? And you just said it. What's the root cause? And I'm sitting here thinking in that moment when I was talking to my friend about Ozempic, I didn't even have a root cause of why I said out loud, like, oh, I would try it.
Yeah, well, you did. You just didn't know it. It
Right.
takes a long
Right.
time to find
Right.
a root cause. Like, even me sitting here having this conversation, like, what is my root cause? What was my root cause back in the day for just processing this real time? Like, for wanting to lose weight when I didn't really have any weight to lose. It was because I wanted to be more desirable to the men I was dating. And I thought that maybe if I had a rock hard body, they wouldn't be stepping out on me. But what is the root from there? It's like not feeling worthy or seen by whoever in my life when I was a kid, or seeing on TV or seeing relationships in front of me that weren't the healthiest, right? And so we can go on and on about the root cause. And sometimes these hacks, no, most of the time, these hacks are not hacks. They're, again, quick little drops and drips of dopamine or serotonin, but they don't last. Like we spoke about cold plunging. There is a lot of benefit to cold plunging. I did it once and I hated it, and I think I felt good afterwards, and that was it. So maybe I got what I needed, right? But perhaps like that 5-minute meditation isn't going to make you feel better. I've had moments, I just sat down to try to meditate before this, and my cramps were so fucking bad. I literally couldn't. And so there was no moving around what was real and true in my body. And I said, fuck my meditation, because I couldn't do it. And so what I'm saying is, like, there are no hacks. There are just what is true in this moment. What do you want to be true? Go fucking do it. What do you want that is going to give you that serotonin, dopamine hit, but like do some work to get there so that it's sustainable.
Totally. There's also like a level of self-awareness that comes with it. Is I know some people listening to this will feel really triggered kind of hearing us shit on the whole Ozempic thing. And it's like, why are you so, I think it's like another level of being self-aware that we know it's really wrong and we can laugh and be like, it's like hilarious that these celebrities are doing this shortcut. And it's just like, how the fuck can they not see how bad it is? But then there's also the other side where people are like defending them. And it's like,
Yeah. Oh, really?
oh yeah. It's like, how are you not? A lot of people are saying it's just like the pressure of the industry and they have to look this
Totally.
certain way. And it's like, how are you not self-aware too about how this is like super harmful in the wellness industry? So it's almost,
Yeah,
again, it's like checking yourself and getting to the root
totally.
cause of the feelings you have towards something like this Ozempic thing going
Yeah,
around.
totally. Looking a certain way though is possible. But that's the thing, is like being fit and being healthy and like I'm fit and I'm healthy and I like the way I look, and I might not always have like my 4-pack popping, but sometimes I do, and I'm proud of that. And
Mm.
I still eat hot Cheetos when I want to, but I fucking reel it in when I know that looking good is gonna allow me to feel good. We're not saying that like looking good is not important. I love when I'm having a good body day. Are you fucking kidding me? I love it, right? But beyond that moment I'm having a good body day, there's some work being put in. And so that's what I'm saying, is like it's possible,
Mm.
unless you have just straight up body dysmorphia. And I totally, I'm totally seeing and hearing and aware of that exists. So like, unless these celebrities just truly can't see that it is possible to look fucking badass, and strong, I don't get it.
I know. It's a lot of self-work. And I know I've been in places in my life where I probably would have thought the other side too and been like, I'll try a quick fix. I mean, we did it. We used to wrap ourselves in shit and like have the diet pills and all the stuff. We've done it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a journey for sure. And it's like asking the right questions and not just falling into the trap of what the next hot thing is. But I know those listening are going to want answers because we always want answers and we're here to provide. So we can dive a little bit into wellness hacks to make your life easier and feel more fulfilling, but like the real ones that I think are important and that I've done to help me.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked a little bit about it. Drinking enough water, moving your body, eating nutritious foods, that's pretty black and white. We talk about that majority of our episodes. Another good thing, which I think will help you kind of move away from the Ozempic talk and falling into the little schemes of what's going on social media, is prioritizing self time and kind of letting go of like the FOMO, letting go of the fear of missing out. You're not missing
Yes.
out on anything that's a TikTok trend. It comes, it goes. 30 days from now, we're not going to be talking about Ozempic anymore. Prioritizing time with yourself, regardless of what the wellness industry is saying, regardless of what the industry in general is saying, social media is telling you what will make your life fulfilling. Like only you really know. And that comes
Mm-hmm.
with prioritizing self time. Because like sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I go through waves where it really is important for my body to look really good. And then sometimes
Totally.
I go through waves where that's not like my first priority, but only I can tell myself that versus looking on social media where it seems like that's the priority majority of the time. So it's like really getting clear on what is going on with you and spending time with you and not having FOMO. If you have this intuition feeling of like not going out on a Friday night, listen to it, see what comes up that night.
Mm.
Those are good things.
Mm.
Another good one that's helped me a lot, especially right now, because social media is so prevalent, is staying in your lane and like really staying in your lane, not getting caught up in the talk, not getting caught up in the drama of what's going on around you, staying in your lane and kind of focusing on what's good for you right now and the people that are good for you. Because I don't know about you, but since TikTok has become a thing, it's like it's so much easier to get involved in drama now.
Mm. Yeah, I open TikTok maybe once a week, if that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
why I need to do better, because our page, you're like, you bitch.
I was like, wait,
I
what?
like, I know. We're trying to get better. I'm trying to get better. But again, like you just said, I really truly I try to mostly let my intuition and my body guide me. And my body doesn't remember TikTok yet. So I
Good.
do open Instagram though. I do open Instagram. So I totally understand what you're saying with like the drama, with bachelor drama, with reading comments. But what I had to do was just unfollow. So maybe another wellness hack is unfollow. I've even unfollowed people in my industry that kind of teach and do the same type of stuff as me, because yeah, they're cool, but I don't need to cheer them on. I'm cheering them on, but I'm not liking their shit. And so I just unfollow them, right? And little things. So when you were talking about trends, I was thinking about, as an entrepreneur, there's so many like trends that people introduce to you, reels and all these different types of reels. And I love the education on social, but personally, if I'm not like, I need to do that reel, I just don't do it. And maybe I'm not reaching as many people as I could be, but I'm reaching enough right now. And I trust that the people that are in my community are in my community, because for my brain, like I have other things to like create and focus on that is more so like depth and content driven than like a reel, when in reality, the reel, what you're saying in the reel has no depth or like consciousness. It's just like, hey, look at me. This sound will get a lot of likes. And fully aware that building a business, that's important. But I can't get past. I'm like, but that's like, what does that mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like that Scorpio, Virgo in me. I'm just like, I don't want to post that. It's not true to my personality. And so like a couple tips that I have that are more so following your thread are pleasure. Like, what is pleasurable to you? It could be being intimate with your partner. That's so important, especially if you are with the right partner, right? It's so important physiologically to feel those hormones, right? That love, that sex, that like, that build up. It's like we don't do that often unless we are being intimate with someone. So if you are in a safe relationship, I definitely recommend like taking some time to just like make out with your partner. Even releasing hormones like that are important. Laughter, and even if that's laughing in the shower to our podcast or to your favorite podcast, like this does so much for me because we can just authentically laugh with each other.
Totally.
And then my last one is receiving reflection from people that you fucking trust. That could just be, if you're having a bad day or a bad week, messaging your best friend and being like, hey, what are 3 strengths that you see in me? And that's not like searching for praise, but it's a true reflection of someone else's perspective of you that is not in your own perspective. And so I'm learning a lot right now about how like our perspective of ourselves is like completely abstract to someone else's perspective of us, and like what is actually true. So I've been practicing this meditation. I'm going to share it with my advanced practitioners for AOB, but I've been practicing this meditation where you drop into meditation, you feel the body, and then you feel the space between your view of yourself and the body. So it's almost like you're looking at yourself from behind you. And then you start to see if you can feel more expansion around you. And then you practice being there so that in moments where you're just like in this fucking lie that you've created, pop, 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 you can be like, hold on, let me take a breath and let me step back and look at myself from this perspective and realize that that's a story.
So
yeah.
powerful.
I'll have to guide it on here when I like master it, but I'm practicing it with one of my mentors because it's not something like, it's hard. I did it last night, and it's challenging. It's challenging to like fragment the way that you view yourself, but in an expansive way and not like a broken way.
Right. Right. So important. Those, I had that as well written down, was finding the relationships that feel fulfilling to you.
Yes.
And going to those people and kind of checking those boxes with your inner circle about questions you have or advice you need. It's really easy to go to, and we are both coaches, so it's not taking anything away from coaches, but it's really easy if you're having a struggle in your relationship to Google like relationship coach. And it's like, well, what happened to just going to your partner, or going to friends or going to those close people in your life that you can kind of go to feel fulfilled and kind of get those questions answered. So making sure that those relationships in your life are feeling fulfilling. And if they're not, you'll find the ones that will. So don't stress about that. That's pretty much the majority of things I had. The last little one I wanted to touch on, kind of like the wellness hacks that help us feel fulfilled in life. A huge one for me, and I know a lot of people subconsciously probably don't even realize, is service and giving back. So important. So important to feeling fulfilled. I truly believe one of my deep values is we were put on this earth to help each other and to give back. And Pisces, our sign is like, we feel the need to help the earth and to help humankind. And I'm so rooted in any time I take time out of my week to do service, whether it's an hour of give back or helping in some way in my community, I feel from like the lowest vibration shooting all the way up to like the highest. And that's something that I know will get me towards feeling more fulfilled of where I'm at, especially if I'm in a rut. Finding ways to give back to help your community is so important. And it's really not hard. The internet is there for help. And you could hop onto Google and type in like a soup kitchen near you. You could help organize. You can help a library reorganize books. Like, it's the littlest things that are going to help you feel more fulfilled. And I promise you, when you start to integrate more service into your life, more things will come up for you on maybe what you want as well out of life. It's a good thing to do to help you kind of question yourself. If you're feeling foggy, I always find that when I'm in like a rut, the moment I help others or give my service to others, I kind of get really clear on things I need.
Yeah.
And then I just want people to notice, like, the last couple tips we went over are completely free. Like, these aren't green powders. This isn't like a subscription service. Jesus, subscription service that you have to like be paying for on a monthly basis. Wellness, which is why we have this podcast, is 360. It's not the shit you see on TikTok every day. It's not the stuff you have coming from Amazon. It's not the tangible items. Like, living a fulfilling life, if you're looking for these hacks on how to make life easier and feel more fulfilling, everything of what we just said is right at your access right now. It's completely free and it's available to you 365 days a year. And it's not just food and body. It's so much deeper than that, which is why we have this podcast, which is why we have these conversations, and which is why we love stirring up a little controversy.
Yeah. And it isn't food and body actually at all.
Right.
It's like continue. I guess my invitation for everyone as we wrap is, it's like, I picture this like rope and I like slowly am following it, and I'm slowly like following it. And then I get little clues every time I follow my individual way. And it's fucking scary, and it's a lot of work sometimes, but that's why we have reality TV.
Yeah, this is
so
true.
Go deep and then take some breaths, and go deep and take some breaths and trust yourself.
Well, that's what we got for you guys today. As always, make sure to leave a review, a rating on Apple Podcasts. Listen to last episode, the beginning of last episode 57, if you want to get more involved with our community. We've got a Facebook group. We also have a Q&A in there as well. If there's a topic you need us to cover, if you have any questions, you have access to that Q&A survey, which is in our Facebook group. And then another reminder, we have our community dump coming up. It's actually next Wednesday. Our community dump is where we take an hour each week or each month with our community, and we kind of hop onto Zoom all together. Sometimes we just feel out how the hour is going to go. Other times Lex and I come with prompts and we're ready to support you guys. But it's really just a safe place to meet with a community of like-minded women who listen to the podcast, who are interested in wellness, and who are just all around really rad humans. So it's February the 15th at 8 p.m. Eastern time, which is 5 p.m. your time, Pacific time. That link is only available in the Facebook group. So you got to make sure you join that. It's completely private, completely free. And we're so excited to see you. But for now, we will see you next week.
Peace out.